We have a couple different audio clips related to Terry McLaurin that I wanted to get to. I want to start with Booger McFarland.
Booger, I saw that.
I really like Booger. I think he is very much a straight shooter in a content space that is full of guys just trying to stir the pot all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Booger does a good job both with college football and the NFL. He obviously played both at a really high level. And Booger, this was yesterday, I think, on NFL Live, talked about how he sees the Terry McLaurin situation in Washington.
Well, the value going forward is going to be that you have a young quarterback who you're looking to make a nice jump from year one to year two in Jaden Daniels, and you want to create stability. You've already come in and brought Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line. So you're trying to surround this young quarterback with protection and playmakers, and there's no better playmaker on your team than Terry McLaurin. Now, is he Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase when it comes to the $40 and $35 million a year? That's for the GM to decide. But I know this. Terry McLaurin is a top 10 receiver in the National Football League. And if you look at what they're making, they're all making above $30 million. So wherever the deal comes in, whether it's 30, 32, 34, figure it out. Continue the continuity that you have in Washington, because right now the Commanders are everybody's darling pick. They got a lot of momentum. They got a lot of positive national momentum. And the last thing you want to do is create a negative controversy on the side as you go into training camp. I think Washington and Adam Peters, they've done everything right so far. Continue this, get this deal done, whether it comes in at 32, 34, 35, whatever the number is, Tim. I think you got to pay him because his production, not only on your team, but in the league, says so.
What do you think, B?
Makes sense. Like this is the thing. When money starts getting discussed, and this is no disrespect, but this is facts. I get so sick and tired of hearing people talk about what he shouldn't get, what he's not, and they don't have the clue of what the value of a receiver in the NFL is. When you are trying to build what they're trying to build, and you want to keep your quarterback's trajectory going, the worst thing in the world is to get rid of his top guy. Especially at this growth point. If he's in year 5, 6, 7, it'll make a difference then. But he's in his
even like in year 4.
Yeah, but he's in his second year now. Booger is right about trying to keep things working going forward. I understand the teams are going to try and do stuff. I have respect for Adam Peters and that crew over there. But I used to hear Joe Banner always, after every year, say, we were under the salary cap. And I was on the team. And you know what I said? If you go over the damn cap, maybe you'll win a Super Bowl. Well, when Joe Banner stopped being the damn the general manager, right, what did the Eagles do? They went to a Super Bowl because somebody was not under the salary cap. They utilized the money and they kept people around. That is what I believe distributes. So for me not being worried is the fact that I look at it that these people know what's happening. They know what Jaden needs. And I don't see them trying to change right now because nobody on that roster is Terry. And you're not going to go get somebody right now that's better than Terry.
I think you're dead on there. I think, if you look at wideouts, if you look at guys that have hit kind of this 30 million mark, Waddle signed, I think, 2 years ago now. He's at 28. T. Higgins is at 28. Granted, he just signed there. Clearly Higgins and Chase wanted to play together because Higgins also was facing a tag and stuff. Like, Higgins maybe took a little below market value. Then you've got 9 receivers making $30 million or more in AAV. Chase is making 40. Terry's not going to touch that. Jefferson's making 35. That's not where this is going. CeeDee Lamb, 34. I don't think that's where this is going. A lot of people want to point to DK at 33. Garrett Wilson just got to 32.5. A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Brandon Ayuk's making 30. Tyreek Hill's making 30. And I don't think we're that far away from Tyreek getting upset about his contract, frankly. Like, I just feel like 30 million is the floor of where this AAV is going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think the Commanders are unaware of that.
Yeah.
I think the discussion is about guaranteed money, how long into the deal,
I think the
and
length,
when it's fully guaranteed.
I think that is the problem. You know, like even if it's a 3-year deal, that those 2 years that may be guaranteed needs to be. Like I mentioned something to somebody earlier was asking what I think. I say even if it's a 3-year deal, you're looking at 3 years, 90-something mil. But you know what? 62, 65 is guaranteed. That's 2 years, basically 60-something. $30-something million a year.
Right.
Yeah.
And they probably convert some money this year that isn't guaranteed to be guaranteed.
Because I love people that go, oh man, just let him go and go get a defensive player. You might start to go to your quarterback. Your quarterback don't want to, oh, I'm going to this year. I had a great year. My top guy, oh, what? He's gone. You know, the people like to make these little things, these ideas, throw these ideas out there when they don't really understand how stuff really works. I guarantee you that quarterback is saying, oh, what's this? And if he was a little older, he may have more, he may say more. Right now, he's worried about yourself, trying to get yourself right. But you're still concerned about what weapons you're going to have.
I also think there's a big part of this. This is the first high-profile contract extension for Josh Harris, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and I think there's some of what kind of precedent do they want to set, right? Because they got a bunch of guys, Frankie Louvu next year, Biotish, you know what I mean? Like and that's not even thinking about Lattimore, Tunsil, some of the biggest names, right? Joe Theismann yesterday talked about Joe Theismann this morning was on with the Junks, not yesterday. Talked about kind of what this means in the locker room. And I think it's pretty
People look at stuff like that.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. Like when you see a guy of Terry's caliber and character, if you see that person have issues, you can't help but think that you would. Like when Art left, everybody in that locker room was like, well, hell, it happened to him, it happened to me. The whole mindset changed.
Right.
And right now, they are the darlings. They have everything working out. You don't want people to ever think that you don't take care of your own, especially one that's producing. I can see if he wasn't producing, but he's producing. And he produced at the highest level last year. You know, and I understand the talk about 30, but damn, everybody that hits 30 don't fall off.
Let's hear Joe T real quick, Landini.
If you look at a guy like Terry McLaurin and you see what he's done and what he accomplished last year, 82 catches last year, and then all of a sudden you want to bring other people in, and players aren't stupid. They step back and they say, well, this franchise is not going to pay a guy of this quality, of this character, great locker room person, great work ethic, great individual in the community. If they're not going to pay him, because all the guys have in their mind what they believe is a fair value. If they're not going to pay them or even come close to the number that whatever it might be, then I might think about not going there. Because this has a ripple effect, the way I look at it, is it affects other players that you might want to bring in.
Sound like two veteran players on the same level, thinking alike, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing everybody in the locker room always knows is everybody else's contract.
They know their value, too.
Right.
And they know how far you're off. Because players talk about everything. They know what somebody else is getting. They know what the other people on other teams are making. And those things get discussed. But I'm just saying, I understand like what Neil said earlier, and a lot of people start saying, but as Gary Clark just stated, where is the drop-off? Where is it showing? You can't assume it's going to happen. You can't just assume just because the age is coming when there have been people that play great beyond 30. Maybe, just maybe, this is your guy. And I watched this guy take a major step with a legitimate quarterback. Now, I'd be damned if he's going to drop off majorly the next year with that same quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to have 15 regular season touchdowns. But if he has 10, 9, 10, 11, he still had a damn great year, don't you think?
Yep.
I think when people look at stats, if you had 13 last year, they feel you got to go to 15 or you dropped off or you didn't do this or he's not ascending anymore. No. When your offense gets more weapons and when your offense starts being utilized properly, you may not get more because you know what? People know what you did last year. They're going to try to take you out the game, so somebody else may step up. But when it comes to crunch time, watch who 5 look for.
100%. And in a similar vein, if the Commanders this year go 11-6 and win a wild card round game and lose in the divisional round, okay, so they didn't get to the NFC title game again. Is that them taking a step back?
No. But it will be
part of it's like the journey.
It will be the small portion of people who would say that because this is what people automatically assume, and it's not this damn easy. If you go to the NFC Championship one year, don't mean you automatically going back to the Super Bowl the next year. Like Buffalo with the 4th Super Bowl, they never won one, did they? So did they take a step back? Did they drop off? Or, did they go out there and get it done? No, they were in the AFC where they were the best team for them 4 years. They just ran into the buzzsaws from the NFC East.
Right.
That's all it was.
It was the whole notion of what constitutes a step back, I think can be far too simplified with statistics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got these numbers sent to me, the Vegas totals for Jaden, right, going into this season, kind of what the expectations are for Vegas. And I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, Vegas has him at 3,500 passing yards, 24.5 touchdowns, 9.5 picks, 700.5 rushing yards, and then 5.5 rushing TDs. Like, my guess is that's not that far off from last year's numbers.
Uh-huh.
If I had to guess, and I'm not Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels, but that is like almost exactly on line with what he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just believe, like for Jaden, I could see a drop in rush yards. Last year, he ran for almost 900 yards. The second half of the season, once the injuries started piling up for that O-line, they couldn't run the ball effectively.
Yeah.
So they had to lean on Jaden. But you know what they've done this year? Trading for Laramie Tunsil is just not talked about on the level it should be because of the significant impact people should expect with him. And then you get Connerly on the other side. Like, that's a significant improvement to your offensive line. So say Jaden's rushing numbers dip, which I think they wouldn't be upset about. Don't you think his passing numbers will go up?
Yeah.
Or say the team just runs the ball
But see,
better.
the thing about it is, this is where I get lost with analytics and people that just are straight numbers people. They only look at the number that was produced. So let's say if he had 600-something yards rushing this year, he dropped off. No, he didn't, because that may go to his passing yards. If he throws it a little bit more, maybe the interception go up or it may go down. But you got to be able to look at the whole picture, not just the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think people get caught up in that. And I think just plugging numbers in without putting in.
Especially in football, dude.
Plugging numbers in without putting in the people and the people that you know work and the people that you know that don't work. It's not fair to the guys that put the work in.
Joe Burrow last year threw for almost 5,000 yards, right? It was incredible. Burrow was an offensive machine. He also threw the ball 652 times. To compare that, Jaden only threw it 480 times. It's almost 200 more passing attempts. And that has to do with a million things. And a big factor is just a bad Bengals defense. But, you can't directly equate these numbers one-to-one.
No, you can't.
Is Terry the receiver that Justin Jefferson is? No. So, but if he ends up making close to Justin Jefferson, that's a result of market economics.